Live. Shalom. Yahweh Shem Yahshai Brakathum. Yahweh Shemar Alathah Ba'Shem Yahushai. I'm Priest and Officer Gabar Moth, ISUPK, Connecticut. We are ISUPK. Started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yahana. Since 1969, we've been teaching the so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Indians, the Negro, the Latino, the First Nationer, that we are the true Jews according to the Bible. We are the Israelites in the Bible. And our oppressor is the devil, which means deceiver, that the Bible speaks of. All right, just bear with me while I get some things in the chat. The water. Again, just bear with me, please. All right. I am Priest and Officer Gabar Moth. All right. If you're looking or if you need counsel, if you're going through something bad, you don't know how to deal with it, call and you're in Connecticut. All right. Call 203-548-0040. Again, that's 203-548-0040. All right. You never have to go through anything alone. ISUPK is a brotherhood, and we teach brotherhood and sisterhood. All right. And you never have to go through anything alone. All right. If you are not in Connecticut and you still need that counsel or you still have those questions, you can go on isupk.com. Again, that's isupk.com. And you'll find a school near you and your questions can be asked. And if you need counsel, the brother that picks up whatever number that you call that is near you will make sure that you receive the counsel that you are looking for. All right. The attendance sheet is in the chat. All right. The attendance sheet is in the chat. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and comment, and/or comment. Like, do all those things. Like, share, subscribe, comment. All right. It helps the algorithm and keeps us being shared. Again, to the brothers, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai Barakathum. And to the sisters, Yahweh Shamar Alatham by Hashem Yahushai. All right. Salakia. All right. All right, let's go. The blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians are a separate people. We are a people that are one, and we are separate, meaning we're separate from society. We're separate from the Japanese, the Chinese, the East Indian. We're separate from the African. We're separate from the so-called European. We are separate from them. We are a nation unto ourselves, and we are called the Israelites. This society, when I say this society, I mean, I'm talking about Europe, I'm talking about South America, I'm talking about this modern day. We're taught that everybody's got to be one, everybody's got to come together, but it's not what God wants. The Most High made us to be different than the rest of the world. And our strength and our endurance comes from being separate. When we join on to the other nations, it's because we're weak. And when we join on the other nations, we become weaker. Okay? One thing we have to do as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians is trust in God. And how do we do that? We have to trust in God Salakia, by following the scriptures, by knowing that we're the people of the book, and having faith that all these prophecies will come true, just as they have to speak of our demise and why we would go through what we're going through now in this modern day and age. Salakia. So, what rules are we talking about when I say rules? I'm talking about the laws, statutes, and commandments. I'm talking about this Bible and its laws, statutes, and commandments. The same Bible that's been in your nightstand, that your grandma had in her possession, that had the family history written in it, had the family genealogy written in it, you know what I'm saying? or at least used to. That was handed down from generation to generation. All right? This Bible has laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. And what the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians don't know of this day and age is that they're a special people that God loves more than any other people on the planet. But again, why don't we know? Because we don't trust in God. We trust in ourselves. We trust in the people that we are taught in school. We're even taught in school that we're slaves, that we were slaves, right? We're taught that in school. But then we don't understand that language is powerful, because what is an employee? An employee means slave too. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, you never stop being a slave. You're just a slave that doesn't have physical shackles on you. But definitely you're a slave in your mind. Because until you know who you are historically, until you know who you are historically, your physical body, it will be governed by your slave mentality. You know what I'm saying? Your mind is clouded with the distractions of the people that are up over you, that want to stay up over you, that don't want to relinquish control, that want to make sure that no matter what, you are Sharawana, Yahawada, Shalom Sis, Labab Banyamyan, Shalom Sis, Yapasha Yara, Shalom Sis. All right. Your oppressor wants to see you stay on the bottom. Your oppressor wants to continue to kill you. Your oppressor just shot a brother claiming that she, and ironically, how crazy is that? Even the oppressor's woman is in on it. She thought she was pulling her taser with her non-dominant hand, right? Because your gun is on your dominant side. You go to the gun range, you practice. You practice pulling, you practice shooting. You practice pulling, you practice shooting. You practice pulling, you practice shooting, right? But you pull your taser with the opposite hand that you don't normally shoot with, and you scream out, taser, taser, taser. You make sure you're articulate when you say it. And then boom, you pull trigger. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever shot a taser, but a taser trigger and a gun trigger don't feel the same. A taser and a gun don't have the same weight. They don't feel the same pulling out a holster. I don't know. Sounds like neglect to me. But again, your oppressor wants to see that. Your oppressor takes pride in killing you, takes pride in the challenge of whether or not you can think or or your lawyer will have guts enough to challenge the system and to actually let that person be convicted of the actual crime. Our oppressors become rewarded for the killing of us, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, so called. All right? They don't care about us. You know what I'm saying? They don't love us. They pretend to care, they pretend to love, but ultimately, they want to see our demise. They want to see us continue to kill each other. And they want to continue to stereotype us, and they want to continue to teach their children secretly to hate you. Black man, Black woman, Black child, Hispanic man, woman, and child, Native Indian, man, woman, and child. They want you to continue to be alcoholics. They want to keep putting uh, all these so-called stars in your face that look like you, right? You know who brought tight pants into the Black community? Lil Wayne brought some leopard print and zebra print tight skateboard pants into our community. All right? You know what else he brought in our community? The love of lean. A lot of our children wouldn't even know what lean was had it not been for the rap songs that our children idolize so much. You know what I'm saying? But you know what? Lil Wayne has the mentality of our oppressor. He is propped up and lifted up by our oppressor. And you know what else? He's encouraged to do everything that is against our laws, everything that is against the Bible, everything that you shouldn't do. He is encouraged to do and given money to do it and given a platform to share it on. Same thing with Birdman and all that homosexual kissing and all that whole scandal. You know what I'm saying? That was to introduce homosexuality to our people. The same with Little Nas X, who has taken what the conscious community loves so, the X, and now has cheapened that thing that was so indigenous and seeking knowledge of self and coming up out of the quagmire of slavery. Little Nas X has taken that and made that something else. You know what I'm saying? There are some who want him to take the X off his name, but he appropriated another man's name to begin with. So let's see how that goes. You know what I'm saying? And that other man gave him an endorsement by being in a video of him behaving like a demon, dressing like a vampire, being a devilish man. You know what I'm saying? Doing a song that was based on Halloween. Again, against our culture, against the true culture of the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. We didn't know about a lot of these things. They're introduced to us by our oppressor. And then we emulate it, we copy it, we paste it. You know what I'm saying? We copy and paste to ourselves. We go ahead and do it. But what we should be doing, most importantly, is understanding who we are, coming back into the fold of our God and following the laws of our God, which lets our God know that we love him and fear him. And like any good father, he'll open up his arms and bring you in, man. Let's get Leviticus 19:1. The book of Leviticus, chapter 19 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto all the congregation of the children of Israel. Again, the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. And say unto them, Ye shall be holy. What does the word holy mean? The word holy means separate, or it means to withdraw from something. That's what we have to do. Ye shall be holy. That's a commandment. For I, your Lord, for I, the Lord, your God, for I, the Most High, your powers, am holy. The Lord wants you to be like him. The Lord wants you to be separate. These other nations, they don't know our God. Our God is separate from them. The only one who's attached to our God is us. They have their made-up gods. They have their imagination. That's what they have. For I, the Lord your God, am holy. Ye shall fear every man his mother and his father, and keep my Sabbaths. I am the Lord your God. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods. I am the Lord your God. And if ye offer a sacrifice of peace offerings unto the Most High, ye shall offer it at your own will. No man can force you to make a sacrifice. When we talk about every man has free will, every man does have free will. Right? What does it say here? And if ye offer a sacrifice of peace offering unto the Lord, ye shall offer it at your own free will. But do we have free will as far as breaking our laws? The 613 laws are in the Bible? No, we are commanded to follow them. Now, when you make the choice not to follow them, and here's how you know it's not a choice. If it was a choice, you wouldn't get punished for it if you didn't do it. It's like your father and mother, right? They tell you do something, right? And as a child, you think you have a choice, right? When you decide not to do it. And then you want to argue your case. But your mother and father said it as a suggestion, expecting you to do what they told you to. And again, when you don't do something that you're expected to do as a parent, right? What are you going to do to your child? You're going to punish them. Why? Because That thing you told them not to do was for their own protection. These laws, statutes, and commandments are for our own protection. They are to keep us out of the wiles of the devil. Because the devil is all around us, man. Temptation is all around us. Our enemies are all around us. And if we follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, the Lord puts a hedge or a fence around us and keeps us safe. Well, guess what? Our oppressor knows that and depends on us to be drug addicts, to sniff coke, to pop mollies, you know what I'm saying, to drink lean, to excess in alcohol, to smoke weed, to have sex with your neighbor's wife, to have sex with with anybody who's around you. They want, the oppressor wants you having sex with men like him, men having sex with men, women have sex with women, wants the children to want to, children born a girl to want to be a boy, wants the children born as boys to want to be girls. He just wants confusion. He doesn't want the order that God made for you. He'll enjoy that order, right? But he doesn't want you to enjoy it. He'll encourage you to do everything wrong while he takes your name and your heritage and lives as you in your land. That's what your oppressor has done. That's what your oppressor continues to do, Black, Hispanic, and Native in here. Okay? You know you were in slavery at one time. You know you're the children of slaves. Well, who does that fit? But us. We learn about it in school. They've gone so far as to try to change that history they're teaching you in school and say that it was voluntary, that you came here to work the tobacco fields voluntarily, and that in the islands, all that sugar cane that you were cutting down, well, you wanted to cut it down because it was an agreement as a job. Nah, nah. Your oppressor is called the devil because he's a liar. You know what I'm saying? Again, he wants you to be away from your God, so he teaches you to be away from your lifestyle, your laws, the morality that's in the Bible. The Bible is morals, okay? It is ethics. It is beautiful. It is brotherhood. It is sisterhood. It is family. It is the nuclear family. They don't want that either. They want to tear down the nuclear family, man. They want to make you hump dogs and cats if they could. They want everybody to buy a horse and have sex with it. That's what they want. They don't want you to be righteous. Not anymore. Because the further away you are from this morality in the Bible, the further away you are from God. And the further away you are from taking your true reign as kings, as princes on this earth and in this land and in everyone's land. You have an inheritance to collect. And like a deceitful lawyer, your oppressor is crafty to keep you away from your inheritance. You know what I'm saying? He uses improper terminology for you, knowing that you use language loosely, knowing that you look at language artistically, right? And he takes advantage of you constantly. Let's keep going. Verse 6, it shall be eaten the same day ye offer it, and on the morrow, and if a man ought remain until the third day, it shall be burnt in the fire. Let's continue. Let's get Leviticus 19, and let's skip down to 11. Ye shall not steal, neither deal falsely, neither lie one to another. Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning. Thou shalt not curse the deaf, nor put a stumbling block before the blind, but shalt fear thy God. I am the Lord. That's what we have to do. We have to fear the Most High, right? Let's stay. Oh, let's keep going. Ye shall not do unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among the people. That means you telling lies and telling stories, man. Don't be a liar, a deceiver, right? That's what your oppressor is, man. Neither shalt thou stand against the blood of thy neighbor. I am the Lord. Thou shalt not hate thy neighbor. Oh, sorry, Salakia. Thou shalt, verse 17, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke, that means to correct, thy neighbor, and not suffer sin upon him. When we see each other stealing, robbing, murdering, and we don't say nothing, we're allowing a brother who might actually listen to you. Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes brothers are hard at it. You know, sometimes you got to long suffer with a brother because he just is strong willed to do the wrong thing. But you're not supposed to suffer sin upon him. Let's read that again. Verse 17, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thine heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Ye shall keep my statutes. Those are the laws in the Bible. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Now look at that. You can't even let your cattle go around making babies with other species of cattle. How does the Lord feel about you as a Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian going out there and procreating with the other nations? If the cattle can't do it, and the cattle are below you, and you're the chosen people of God, what do you believe of yourself? I'm going to read that again. Ye shall keep my statutes. Thou shalt not let thy cattle gender with a diverse kind. Thou shalt not sow thy field with mingled seed. You can't even mix seeds up in your fields. You can't take a pumpkin patch and put strawberries in it. It's got to be all pumpkins. Watermelons with the watermelons. Tomato vines with the tomato vines. You can't just mix them all up. Chinese with the Chinese. Africans with the Africans. Israel with Israel. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians with Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Neither shall a garment mingled of linen and woolen come upon thee. You can't even take linen and wool and make something with it to wear. You can't even do that. Our God is strict. A lot of us have a problem with discipline and with a strict lifestyle. We feel like it's stifling, it controls us. But what we don't understand is that discipline releases you from a lot of different troubles that you would go through, because the Lord is going to punish you for it, right? The Lord is going to make sure you have a hard way about it to keep you aware that you're doing something wrong. You have discipline, your life gets better. Verse 20, and whosoever lieth carnally with a woman that is a bondmaid, betrothed to an husband, and not at all redeemed, nor freedom given her, she shall be scourged. They shall not be put to death because she was not free. It even talks about A woman that's your slave, even in dealing with her, there's rules. Let's continue. Let's skip down to 26. Ye shall not eat anything with the blood, neither shall ye use enchantment, nor observe times. Ye shall not round the corners of your heads, neither shall you mar the corners of your beard. You can't get shape-ups. You can't go to a palm reader or someone that's going to give you your horoscopes. You have rules. Verse 28, ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead. How many of us have tattoos to our dead loved ones? This is for Big Mama. You know what I'm saying? I got Big Mama on my forearm, so every time every time I put my fist up, I can remember. No, remember your mama through your head, through your memories, man. Don't put cuttings into your flesh to remember the dead. Tattoos at one time were for sailors and people in the service, and usually those servicemen were the oppressor. They weren't us. But now, of course, you turn on the television, you got black ink, you got tattoo this and tattoo that. Even when I went to Harlem, there's mad tattoo parlors everywhere, and those tattoo artists are like rock stars. Ye shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord. Do not prostitute thy daughter. How do you prostitute your daughter? Let's look into that. Do you say anything when she's wearing a low-cut shirt? When she walks out of the house, panty lines blaring because she's wearing some tight pants, do you say anything? Do you say, sweetie, you can see everything in that. Let's please go put on something else. Do you say your that's too much? You shouldn't wear that. Your cleavage is hanging out. You ain't leaving nothing to the imagination. Please go take that off. Do you say anything? Or are you of the parenting type that she gonna do what she wanna do anyway, whether I know about it or not? Sometimes your kids want you to say something, man. I know when this whole pants sagging thing started, I was, I'm a 90s, well, I'm an 80s. Well, I was born in the 70s. But I was a teenager in my youngness in the 90s, and this whole pants sagging thing was going on. But the clothes were baggy. But you didn't let your drawers show, man. You ain't seen nobody's drawers, and you were actually wearing baggy pants. What happened that the pants are still sagging, but they're skin tight? I don't even, I don't even understand what's going on, man. How are the pants skin tight around your knees? You can see the blood flow in the back of your knee. Okay? Yet you still sagging at the top. And you want to announce that you're wearing boxer briefs by letting the crack of your ass show through. As a man. As a man, you're doing that. Since when did that become okay? How come, where are the parents say anything about that? Do not prostitute thy daughter. A lot of our sons are being prostituted. To cause her to be a whore. When you don't say anything, you're setting up your child, your daughter, and your son. Well, your daughter to be a whore, put it that way. You're setting your son up to look effeminate. You setting your son up to look like he just got out of jail and he's searching for some poom poom. You know what I'm saying? He's searching for something to fill him up. Lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness. Is that what's going on? Is the land full of wickedness? If you say no, I beg to differ. Ye shall keep my Sabbath and reverence my sanctuary. I am the Lord. Regard not them that have familiar spirits. Who's into all these native spiritual practices? Like the Black Lives Matters founders, right? Call themselves witches. Men call themselves warlocks. Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards. What has become so popular in the early to mid 2000s? What's that show called? About the wizards? Movie. Um, Harry Potter. Harry Potter. Harry Potter. I mean, was killing it at the box office. Again, look at that movie has nothing but Edomites in it, nothing but our oppressor in it. But our children ate that up. And what happened? Now you got the memorabilia coming out, the toys and stuff, and they selling little wizards wands, selling capes and cowls, and selling all the different marketing strategies that they had to get those things in everybody's hands. And they affected you, Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man, woman, and child. Familiar spirits. Look at the sales of the Ouija board. The Ouija board is something that is an ancient thing, and I think it's Hasbro. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Has turned that into a marketing strategy that has everybody using it, and even more recently there's been more movies made using the Ouija board in a horror story setting and in the Marvel universe. They had a series that showed them playing with the Ouija board too. Again, all to seed the mind of the children and seed the mind of weak adults who don't know better. Verse 31 again, regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards to be defiled by them. It's like dipping yourself in doo-doo when you deal with them, man. You know what it means to be defiled? It means to make yourself disgusting with something. To defile yourself means to take yourself out of a cleanness and make yourself dirty. When you deal with familiar spirits and wizards, and that includes witches, you become defiled by them. When you deal with obia, right? When you deal with vundun or voodoo, whatever you want to call it, you know what I'm saying? When you deal with um with 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 dealing with banshee and everything else, right? You're dealing with what God told you to stay away from. The Lord don't want you dealing with those things. But guess what? Guess what the conscious community will say? It's your culture. It's how you used to live before the oppressor came. Nah, they lying to you. Before the oppressor didn't bring you the Bible. The oppressor brought you his version of the Bible. The oppressor didn't bring you God. The oppressor brought you his version of God. The oppressor brought you the cross. You understand? This Bible has been around. When you look at ancient culture in Mexico, Quetzalcoatl, they had depictions of Christ carrying a cross, bleeding from his arm, from his wrists and his feet, right? Because they knew the prophecies. And guess what? He was not an oppressor. He looked like me. He was darker than me. He was the color of my shirt. He was black, dark. I wouldn't call it black. He was dark brown, that chocolate. You know what I'm saying? But again, we have to learn these things because our oppressor doesn't want us to know true history. The oppressor wants us to think that they brought us civilization. No, we brought them. They came into our civilizations and assimilated, and through deceit rose up to be on top of us. That's what's happened. They learned our laws. They learned how we became so successful and took our success away by convincing us to be like them. And a lot of it has to do with reverence of skin, reverence of color on our part. We love that light eyes and all that business, and it went against us because we're a visual people. Thou shalt, verse 32, thou shalt rise up before the hoary head and honor the face of the old man, and fear thy God again, and fear thy God again, and fear thy God. I am the Lord. Salakia. Verse 37, let's skip down. Therefore shall ye observe all my statutes, not some, like the Christian church teaches you, like Christianity teaches you, like Vocab Malone and this lion behind will teach you. Therefore shall ye observe all my statutes and all my judgments. And most importantly, and do them. I am the Lord. Let's drop that. Let's get Proverbs 9 and 10. The book of Proverbs, chapter 9 and verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy, there it is again, man, can't get by it. The knowledge of the holy, which is separateness, the withdrawal of out of society, out of the melting pot, out of this thing called the experiment called America, right? And this societal crap that's going on all over the planet. And the knowledge of the holy, the separateness, is understanding. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. See? Not by not following the Lord, by following the Lord, you're going to live longer. If thou be wise, because you are wise when you follow the commandments, thou shalt be wise for thyself. But if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. A foolish woman is clamorous. And this is, so let me tell you something. If our people follow this Bible, we wouldn't have any problems, man. You know what clamorous means? What do clams look like? Clams look like this, right? Clamorous. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. You run your mouth as a woman, you talk off the top of your head, your heart starts beating fast, and you start to run your mouth. The Bible says you're simple and that you know nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house on a seat in the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, let him turn hither. And as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. Woo! Picture a woman sitting on a stoop in the city, man. What kind of woman does that? Sits on a stoop in the city, trying to get you to come in her house. She don't know you. What kind of woman does that? Let's go there again. For she's, again, that clamorous woman, that woman who don't shut her mouth, that woman who is all over the place. She is simple and knoweth nothing, for she sitteth at the door of her house, on a seat in the high places of the city, where everyone can see her, to call passengers, passers-by, people who are just doing their thing, who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, which one of those passengers is simple-minded? Let him turn in hither. Let that simple-minded simp. Again, we have words today that are not that are ancient, right? A simp is a simple man or woman, right? Whoso is simple, who is a simp? Let him turn in hither. And as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. What does she want him to do? She wants him to do what he shouldn't be doing. First of all, you shouldn't be stealing anything. And usually what's in secret ain't too good either, right? But he knoweth not that the dead are there. She's looking to have you killed, man. Messing with her is like being in hell. You're going to end up in torture. You're going to end up doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and you're going to get punished for it. He knoweth not the dead are there. He knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. That's deep right there, man. That is seriously deep. Now, until I came into the ISUPK, had never read that. And I went to church pretty much every day on Sunday until I was like 20-something years old. I never read most of this Bible, man. I mean, I had it in my hand. I wasn't partaking in it. You know what I'm saying? Not the way I should have been. Every Wednesday for Bible study, we were studying the same four things. You know what I'm saying? Baptism. What else? You know, actually, that's about it. Really, talked about baptism. Talked about what the things you shouldn't do, but not mentioning eating pork, because after Bible study we would have pork hot dogs, or pork this or pork that. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Come out of Christianity, man. Come into the law, statutes, and commandments of your Bible. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man. That's why you're so zealous about it. When you're in the church, you don't know better, but you zealous as hell. Because the book is for you. It's meant for you, man. Let's get some more. Let's go to Galatians 5 and 14. Galatians, the book of Galatians 5 and 14. For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even in this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Let's read that again. For all the law is fulfilled in one word. Again, this Bible is extremely important to waking up our people so that we rise up as a nation again in this world. We were once a nation of people. Again, this Bible is about our history. Solomon was an Israelite. You understand? Solomon was our people. Salakia. Solomon was one of our people. Abraham was one of our people. Anyone prominent in ancient history who comes out of the land of Israel is our people. And these are people that are talked about because they did great things, man. David, they say, was a fictitious character in history, right? No. King David was a man that actually lived, that had children and grandchildren, and the Lord loved him once he repented, of course. And the Lord had favor with him from early in life when he slayed Goliath. And I don't know what child doesn't know the story of David and Goliath. That was one of the first stories that I learned growing up. The story of David and Goliath. And then how many movies are based on that premise, but they switch it around and what's not. You know, you got the small, non-assuming character versus this huge, menacing beast, and that smaller. Oh, turn the light on outside for the dog, please. That smaller character has to be cunning and smart because he doesn't have the physicality to fight the larger character. That's David and Goliath. That's what that is. And we have to understand that all of our culture has been appropriated. We should be looking in the courts for that for that money, man. Because there's been cultural appropriation for years amongst the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. All of our stories have been taken and flipped around and remixed and then given back to us in some watered down way. You know what I'm saying? Or given to us straight with no chaser. But we don't know it's us. And one day, once we again come back to the laws, statutes, and commandments, one day we will know. One day we will know. One day we will look at our oppressor and be like, "You was a lying bastard, ain't you? You done stole everything. Tried to make everything yours because you had nothing to begin with." And some of us will have mercy because we're an extremely merciful people. You know what I'm saying? Look at the murders that happened, and the parents of the murdered are forgiving them in 2 weeks. We have it in us to be kind and merciful. But others of us will be warriors, man, and we will live as such. You understand? For all the law is fulfilled in one word, even this: thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. That's important, man. We have to love each other more than the oppressors ever going to care about us. They will never care about us. Not like we should care about ourselves. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another. This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. Again, commandments. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. You won't be the person you're supposed to be when you hating on your brother or sister. When you're hating on your own child to kill it in the womb, you'll continue to be an evil bastard, man. You'll grow in that instead of growing in righteousness. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law. The law doesn't apply to you if you're in the Spirit, because you ain't no punishment going to happen, because you've done nothing to be punished for. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, are many of these, right? Manifest. Which are these? Adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations. What is we all know what the idolatry, witchcraft, lasciviousness. Lasciviousness is being off sexually, like being into kinky. You're kinky. You're too kinky for your own good, right? Right? You're fleshly, right? We know what witchcraft is. We know what hatred is. What is variance? Being at variance. Always trying to be at variance with your brother. Always trying to be contrary. You see blue, he sees sky blue. The wall's painted red like a brick, and you calling it crimson. No, that's crimson. That's not just red, that's crimson. You know what I'm saying? These aren't sunglasses, these are shades. You always there's always something that's always contrary. You don't have to agree all the time, but don't be at variance, man. Walk in brotherhood. Accept one another. Emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of the which I tell you before, as I have also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the powers of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is love. Right? When your spirit is doing what it's supposed to do and walking in brotherhood, what it will yield is love. Joy. It will yield joy. It will yield peace, long suffering. That means you're going to have patience with your brother, man. Long suffering, gentleness, goodness, faith. You're going to have all these things for your sister, for your wives, for your children. Meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law. And that they are Christ's. Salakia, read it wrong. And they that are Christ's have crucified the flesh. You've suffered your flesh with the affections and lusts. You've fought against them, right? If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. We have to walk in it, man. We have to do it. We can't just be in the Spirit in our minds. We have to be showing the fruit of our doings, right? If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not be desirous of vain glory, invoking one another, envying one another. We shouldn't do that. Read that again, 26. Start 25 again. If we live in the Spirit, let us also Walk in the Spirit. Let your light shine before men. Let us not be desirous of vainglory, envying one another. Don't want what your brother has. Don't envy your brother. Don't provoke your brother. Don't look for glory over your brother. Achieve glory together. You know what I'm saying? Pull and push each other up. Whoever's on top, pull. Whoever's on the bottom, push. And be up there together as brothers, man. You understand? This is what we have to do. We have to become separate. We have to become better than this world we live in. The world is given into the hand of the wicked, man. And it's time to separate from the wickedness and be the righteous players that we're supposed to be, right? And really play this system and our oppressors, man. Play better than they do. You know what I'm saying? Throw some sevens, you know what I'm saying? Do it right. Because our oppressor ain't so intelligent. Our oppressor is not smarter than us. They're just more organized than us at the moment. That's all. They have a plan that they've been sticking to for years, and they do not deviate from it. That's our problem. We don't stick together, and we keep deviating from our own plans. We don't have longevity. We don't have persistence. We don't have those things because we think that we're just a low people, that we mean nothing. But again, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, man, you're the number one people on the planet, and it's time to behave that way. ISUPK and the Commanding General Yohana has taught me much and is continuing to teach other brothers much and sisters and children how to be better in their lives, how not to let yourself become undisciplined and let yourself become lustful. You know what I'm saying? Teaching you how to put the reins on and control yourself. The Bible says the Lord is who tries the reins. You know what I'm saying? Teaches you how to, being a here has taught many of us how to overcome obstacles, not to give in to what is hard, but to fight against it and to surpass it, including the hardness of yourself, killing your old self. It's hard. But once you do it, everything else, man, comes easy. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta stick with the plan. And what's the plan? To follow what God says and do all the things that He says to do, right? And reap the benefits of the blessings, man, because they'll come. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. No, let's get a couple more. Let's get two more, man. Matthew 5:48. Because Christianity teaches us no man is perfect. Let's see what God says. Of course, we're not gonna listen to the man. We listen to God, right? And what does God say about us and the ability to be perfect? Be ye therefore perfect as your Father is perfect in heaven. Again, be ye therefore perfect as your Father is perfect in heaven. Christian church, why do you lie? Pastor, Reverend Porkchop, why do you tell us that no man is perfect? Why do you tell us no woman is perfect? Why do you make it seem like we have to continue in our sin? Why don't you let us know that all we have to do is repent and stop sinning, and then we can call ourselves perfect? How come we can't do that? Huh? Ask your Reverend that. I bet you give you a long-winded answer. 5:48. Be to be or not to be, that is the question, right? Be ye, as you, therefore perfect, even as your Father which is heaven is perfect. So if I do all that God says, I'm perfect. Let's go up a little bit. Verse 46. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have ye? Do not even the publicans the same? And if ye salute your brethren only, what do ye more than others? Do not even the publicans so? This is talking about people serving, people working for the oppressor. Publicans, right? Holding an office that is a public office, or whatever the case is, back in the day, right? Tax collector, soldier, those types of things, right? You have to love your people first, man. And even in that, it is seeking perfection. A lot of us feel like, oh, listen, loving your people is not walking around killing your enemy physically. It's just preferring one another. Let's get that. Let's get that. Hold on. Romans 12 and 10. Let's get that. Because again, Christian church teaches everybody should come together. Untrue. Romans 12 and 10. Be kindly affection one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another. You're supposed to prefer one another. The same way your oppressor is a good old boy, part of the good old boys club, you're supposed to be doing the same thing to them. You can deal with them in business, but when it comes to that giving a break thing, don't give them a break before you give your brother a break. You know what I'm saying? You see two bums on the street, give your brother that you don't know, because you don't know your oppressor on the street. You just feel sorry for him. Give the brother more than you give the oppressor. Give the brother something. A lot of us would ignore our brother. Salakia. 1 John 4 and 18. Salakia. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casteth out fear, because fear hath torment. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. If any man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? And this commandment we have from him, that he who loveth God love his brother also. I'm gonna leave it there. All right. Again, man, let's pull ourselves together and let's be the nation that we're supposed to be, and let's stop being everything but. You know what I'm saying? All right, come into the ISUPK, the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, under commanding General Yohana, and learn who you are. Learn what true brotherhood is and true sisterhood. Learn what true parenting is. You understand? And learn how to be better than you ever been in your life. I am Priest and Officer Gabar Amath, ISUPK, Connecticut. We are ISUPK, started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under commanding General Yohana since 1969, been teaching the so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians their culture and heritage, that we are the Israelites according to the Bible, and that our oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. Shalom, Israel.